Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode 58 of your favorite basketball podcast. Sitting courtside, like always, my name is Dante.
It is your boy, Jerry D.
Another week closer to the NBA season starting. The preseason has officially begun today, October 8th. This episode will be out this upcoming Friday. More preseason games will be under the belt. More things going on around the league to prepare us for the season beginning in a few weeks. And before the season does begin, Jerry, I felt like it would have been, I feel like it's necessary for us to kind of give our favorites going into this season, who we believe have the best chances of winning the NBA championship. That's one thing that we have yet to kind of discuss, go over, go back and forth about. So figured why not do it today? We're 2 weeks away, right about. So why not do it now?
It's always a blast to just give, these let's throw some shit at the wall kind of predictions and see if it sticks and see how, teams go through the season.
I like doing the top fives and the top lists too, because just seeing like how different our lists are. Like we could have same teams, different spots, different teams, all this and that. So looking forward to seeing. So we're gonna give our top five championship teams, like teams that have the best odds, and also we're going to include, a sleeper team. So a team that people aren't expecting, probably for good reason, to go far to win a championship, but we're going to give one of those as well. So without further ado, Jerry, I say we both give our sleeper picks, and then we can go into our top five. We'll do 5-1, and I'll let you take the floor there. But if you don't mind, give me your sleeper pick first.
For sure. Yeah, sleeper for me. I've been gassing them up all summer long. I've been talking about them as many times as often as we could squeeze them into some segments here. Mm-hmm. Of course, for me, it is the Memphis Grizzlies.
Right. Before we recorded, you said, I think you know who I'm picking, and I said, I think I do, and I was right. Yep.
It's kind of inevitable for me to not choose them. I mean, missing out on an MVP candidate, which I think Ja will be returning for this next season after the labor issue, after some character issues, which you don't got to keep making jokes about over and over again when we had the shot. See what I did there? The team is still young. And when you have a player that can galvanize a group of guys and is still an upper echelon point guard when he's healthy and available, Ja Morant is going to do everything possible to make sure that not only is he's going to be good as from an individual standpoint, averaging 25 plus points, 8 plus assists or whatever it is, and 5 rebounds, but also he makes his team way better than what they were. The Grizzlies are one of the worst teams in the league last year. And we really saw what the value of having a young asset that is an MVP candidate could do for a team. Desmond Bain got all the defensive attention last year as being the number one option because it's easy to shortchange a guy when he doesn't have that type of athleticism or isn't the best of shot creators. Not trying to take a knock at his game.
Marcus Smart was out a good amount of the season too, so that hurt them as well.
Yep. Jaren Jackson is going to have to improve his game. I talked my trash about him as well. So, but I know that Ja will be able to elevate Jaren's game, Desmond's game. Brandon Clark is returning after tearing his ACL.
They had a handful of injuries. I think last year they may have broke the record for like most players that played for their team in that season, in a single season. It was a rough season for them.
It's very forgettable. The Grizzlies didn't literally exist. The only highlight from their season was Ja dunking on Wemby. So, with that being said, I think this year, 2024-25, should be a bounce-back year for these guys. Comeback player of the year, Ja Morant. Should finish top 5, top 6-ish for MVP voting. Then the rest of the team is just going to fall in line, man. G.G. Jackson as well, didn't mention. I'm excited for what this team's going to look like because Taylor Jenkins really is one of the better coaches in the league as well. But
yeah, absolutely.
You have that many injuries, it's kind of tough to throw out your full house if you're lacking aces, right? So I'm looking forward to what the Grizzlies will do. That's my sleeper pick.
Hey, man, I think the Western Conference is a great conference to pick a sleeper from because there's so many good teams out there where it's like there's a lot of teams that you're probably thinking are, below a lot of teams, but could, reach the top of the conference, make it to the finals depending on matchups, injuries, this and that. So going off of that logic, I'm also picking a team from the Western Conference.
I like it that much.
I like the Grizzlies pick. I think that's a really solid one. Ja Morant's going to have a huge comeback year, hopefully, if he stays healthy and out of trouble. I am picking the New Orleans Pelicans. I think this
I
is
knew it too. Like something in my head when I was looking at these teams, I'm like, Dante looks like the kind of guy that's going to lean on Zion in the
I'm
Pelicans.
like scrolling through. I'm like, yeah, maybe, no, no, no. And then I get to the Pelicans and I'm like, yes, that's the team that I think could be a sleeper because they have Zion Williamson, who, when we see, I mean, last year had a pretty healthy season, all considering the healthiest season we probably have seen from him. He looks slimmer. He looks like he's in the best shape since his college days. You bring back Brandon Ingram, who I know has been in trade rumors and this and that, and I still think that they can move him. But that's a guy that you can get assets, in
For
return
sure.
for other players, whatever. You still got CJ McCollum, and hey, you just traded for DeJounte Murray from Atlanta, and you really didn't give up much to get him. So you have a stacked team. You lost Valanciunas, but you still have a few other guys that you can work in there. Few other bench pieces that are, really contribute. Trey Murphy, I believe that he just did get hurt though, so he might be out for a little bit. But they have a collective of guys that really, fit well into this team, and they were the number one seed not too long ago when they were healthy. So I believe when they are healthy, they're a team that can make a sneaky run in the West. Obviously, again, depending on matchups, making the postseason, health considering all these things factor in, but if everything goes out well for the Pelicans this year, I think that they can make a sneaky run to the NBA Finals.
Yeah, I'm definitely not mad at that pick. It's funny how we're choosing two guys from the same draft class,
Zion
back-to-back
and
picks,
Ja.
to
Yeah.
kind of lead their franchise to glory. But,
Mm-hmm.
both have had injuries, unfortunately, and some off-the-court issues. Like Zion had a porn addiction, uh, which I'm glad he beat. So, time to
And
get back
an
to basketball.
addiction to fast food,
And
New Orleans food.
hey, got to stay away from that gumbo, baby. So
Yep. Yeah,
I like
definitely
the
heard him.
Pelicans pick, though. I think that's definitely a team that people are sleeping on. They think DeJounte is kind of like a whatever kind of move. It's a sideways move, a lateral move, not one that actually ascends. So I'm interested to see what the Pelicans look like for sure. I like that pick.
Hell yeah. It's a league pass team for me, brother.
Absolutely.
All right. Now let's get into the big guns, the big guys, the big players here. Top 5 teams that we have winning championships, our best odds to win championships next year. Jerry, can you please give me your top 5 going down from 5 to 1?
Absolutely. I had to ask beforehand, like, via text, obviously. I was like, do we have to rank them? Because this kind of sucks trying to, like, go ahead and rank these teams and not just throwing them into a hat and just picking out. So,
Listen, we gotta give the fans. We have to give the fans
yeah.
our opinions. We gotta give them, the a detail. We gotta give them the good stuff here.
Well, let's go ahead and get to
Let's give them the good stuff.
this good stuff here. I mean, at number 5 for me, which I really wanted them to be higher just because of what I believe they could do. But I have the Philadelphia 76ers at 5. I mean,
Yep.
given all the acquisitions that they did make over the offseason, Paul George is obviously the big fish. I said it over and over again. Getting all the ancillary pieces like Eric Gordon, Reggie Jackson, and Andre Drummond, that's going to make a hell of a difference in terms of depth, which is
Paul
huge.
George obviously is the biggest piece here, but when you add in a bunch of good role players like that, it really just fills out that team. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Like, I think I'm going to say this about another guy later on, which I'll get to, but these are some of the deepest rosters that the guy later on is going to be a part of and that Joel has possibly been a part of. I know that he's played with superstar players already, Jimmy Butler and James Harden and Ben Simmons before the back issues and whatnot, but having this type of depth and this much go-to talent on the team, because Kelly Oubre's still there. Tyrese Maxey's obviously going to be the lead dog.
Absolutely.
It looks nice on paper to what this looks like. I know the Knicks probably look the best on paper, especially after adding Cat and all, but I really like how this roster looks because you're putting all that talent around arguably the best player in the league in Joel Embiid, which, again, the only reason they had 5 is because of Joel's health, or else they'd be higher up on the list.
Absolutely. I think that's it's just you're being cautious about where to put the Sixers because it could lead to heartbreak with Joel Embiid's health history.
Exactly. And I was kind of skeptical about even putting them there in the first place, especially.
I don't blame you.
FYI, for anybody that's a Knicks fan, you're not on my list here. I'd probably have them right behind the Sixers at 6. So
I feel like those two teams are kind of just like neck and neck.
And neck.
They have their own different issues, their own different questions that need answers to, but they're right in the same grouping.
I'm really just interested to see what type of impact or what kind of role Paul George is going to play and how Nick Nurse uses him. And
Mm-hmm.
that's like my main point in bold on my notes here is just how is PG going to be utilized? Because I really do think he's been one of the more versatile players since he's came into the league in the 2010s. So I know he can be a two-way guy. I know he can provide offense. I know he can guard the best player and take a back seat. He can be a playmaker, which I think
Absolutely.
that's going to be more so his role, which is like, I have an MVP caliber center and one of the fastest scoring guards in the league. Like, I can just distribute. So I'm really interested to see how PG looks, but not going to take up any more of your time here. Let's hear your number 5, but that is mine.
Let's do it. All right, my number 5. This was a tough one. Again, it was between two teams that I feel like are just really neck and neck. And funny enough, they're the two teams that you were just talking about. But on my list, I have them flipped. I have the Knicks at 5. The reason why I have the Knicks at 5 and Philadelphia, who I would probably put at 6, is because Joel's injury history scares me more than what Cat's fit on New York can be.
I'm not worried. Honestly, I'm not even worried about Cat's fit in New York. I just, based off of sheer talent, that's the only reason why I went Philly over New York.
Sure. It's just, to me, in how I'm looking at it logically, is last year New York lost in the second round, right? But I was saying all postseason, leading up to the postseason, that there is one healthy team in the East that can beat Boston. It's the Knicks. And I still believe that they were one Jalen Brunson, OG Anunoby being gassed and being hurt, and Josh Hart being gassed from making it to the Eastern Conference Finals and playing the Celtics. And if they were healthy, I still think the Celtics win that series, but it's going to be a lot more competitive than the Celtics sweeping the Pacers. You know what I mean? So with that being said, I do think they got better this offseason. They got Mikal Bridges. They got Karl-Anthony Towns. It'll be interesting to see how it works. And we've talked in the past about Philly, actually, where you can't expect them to be amazing right away. Like, we used Miami's Big Three as an example, and I'm not comparing New York to Miami's Big Three, but like, they started their first 20 games, 11-9, 10-10, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be a fast start, but I think that this team, once playoff time, will have it put together enough where they can make a deep run. And Philly can do the same thing if they're healthy, but I trust New York just a little bit more here. So that's why I put them ahead of 5.
And I'm not even, like, again, I do believe that fit won't be an issue for
I think it's going to be great. I really do think Cat's going to be perfect in that system. I do.
And after playing a few seasons under Tom Thibodeau in Minnesota already, and this is a better version of Cat you would hope by entering year 10 here, it's like, okay, Fibs probably has been watching your game from afar. He's an avid NBA eater anyway, of content and watching games, I'm sure. So he knows what to expect after game planning against you for these last few years since he's been in New York. So adding him back into the flow, I hate how everybody kind of, shits on Cat because of the, how he talks sometimes, and there's some traces
of this and that, whatever.
Yeah. But this is one of the more offensive talented bigs in NBA history. So
he said himself he's the greatest big man that could shoot it.
And I couldn't disagree more. But,
there's a few guys I think I'd put Dirk Nowitzki, but I respect his opinion.
I do.
You have to have confidence in yourself, which he does.
He can space the hell out the floor, and he's going to do just that and more for the New York Knicks.
We saw it in the first preseason game. He shot from the fucking parking lot, and he hit it first play of the game. So, yeah, I think it'll work out well there.
I'm not mad at the Knicks over the Sixers on your list. I 100% understand. Okay.
All right. Well, number 4 for you.
Number 4 is going to shock some people. I'm not going to hold you. Like, I think people expected this team to be as high as 2, maybe even 1, depending on who you root for. But I have Oklahoma City at 4. And it's not a knock.
Okay.
I believe that they could very well finish with the 1 seed again, just like how they did last year, tied with the Nuggets for the 1 seed out west. But I'm expecting major leaps from the young core. And the pieces that they did happen to add aren't guys that are going to demand the ball, right? Like Isaiah Hartenstein and Alex Caruso. These are guys that are very well role players that fit a system. And I think bringing in
Hartenstein had like a near triple-double his first preseason game.
So
he's gonna do his thing in that system. He's gonna be able to do a lot more than score, rebound, all that stuff.
Yeah, like the playmaking shades of his game showed in the postseason with the Knicks. There's definitely value in having a post playmaker, especially that can operate off of the elbow. So I like his fit alongside Chet Holmgren and SGA and those guys. So I only have him at 4, though, just because I think the other teams are kind of being slept on above him. Not the team at number 1, which we probably already know who's at 1 for the both of us, which we'll get to. But
Spoiler, yeah. But we save it. We'll save it.
I think OKC probably did have the best offseason, though. Adding those two guys and then just, saying to yourself, you know what? Why spend any more money? Let's make Isaiah Hartenstein our big fish signing since they threw, 60 million plus at him. Cool. Got your center. Let's do it. Let SGA cook because this is probably going to be his MVP season. You got Jalen Williams,
That's my pick to win MVP.
Yeah. I wouldn't be mad if he does win it. Then Jalen Williams, looking at the NBA GM surveys that came out recently, is the player most likely to have a breakout season.
Yeah.
Not too far behind him is probably going to be Chet Holmgren as well entering year 2. So, and then we're not even talking about the Cason Wallaces of the world, Aaron Wiggins. Like they're
incredibly deep. They are incredibly deep and very young.
Mm-hmm. It wouldn't surprise me if they were to come out the West, right? Like again, like they could possibly make it to the NBA Finals. I'm not even going to use youth as an excuse for them anymore. I think they're too seasoned at this point. They're still a young team for sure, but I only have them at 4 just because of I think some teams come postseason time are going to amp it up. And we saw what happened to them against the Dallas Mavericks in the second round of the playoffs, right, where Luka and Kyrie set themselves apart from the talent that OKC had on their roster. It could be different this year. I would hope for their sake it is, but I have them at 4 just for that reason. I don't know if they know how to turn it up yet. I guess we'll see.
We'll see.
Like Stephen A. says, and I quote, the list is fluid.
So, it's fluid. It's always going to be moving up and down.
Yeah, fluid. It's the preseason, and we talk about Hartenstein getting triple doubles in October, early October. Like
all I care about is Hartenstein triple doubles in April, May, and June.
Exactly.
That's when they matter.
Let's see what he looks like, what he meshes like when he's actually playing 35 minutes plus per game in the thick of the regular season. So OKC's at my 4. Talk to me, my friend. Who we got?
I respect that because I think a lot of people are, just immediately, considering putting Thunder at the top of their list, right? And it's like there's so many other teams you have to consider, and there is a fair argument to be made for the Thunder to be as high as 2. But realistically, we have to, again, look at the bigger picture, look at all these other teams, and look at it that way. I will get to the Thunder, Jerry, but they are not my 4. My 4 is a team that I also feel like not being slept on. I'm not saying it that way because I do have them at 4, but like people forget how good they can be, and that's Milwaukee. The reason why I put Milwaukee here at 4 is because, listen, going into the playoffs last year, Giannis Antetokounmpo, who is arguably the best player in the NBA, there's just as good of an argument to say he's the best player as there is for a guy like Embiid or Jokic. I'm being dead serious.
I agree.
And you don't have Damian Lillard for most of the series, who you got rid of a lot of your team to get the offseason prior. So it's like your 2 best players were out. And they lost to a Pacers team who ended up making it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, I don't have a crystal ball or anything like that. I can't go and look and see what would have happened if the Bucks were healthy. I don't know if they would have made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Maybe they won the championship. Who knows? But I think, it's a respect thing. I have to put the Bucks here because they just won the championship a few years ago. Every year they were a contender. The reason why they didn't make it past the first round last year is because of health. The reason why they didn't make it past the first round the year before was because of Jimmy Butler. Really, the only 2 things that hold the Bucks back at this point.
It was kind of helped back-to-back years because even then
it was then
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's a little bit of both, but you run into a Jimmy Butler and they go on this historic run, making it to the finals, this and that. So they had some obstacles, but when they're healthy, we haven't seen a playoff series with Giannis and Dame. I think that they deserve to be in this top echelon of teams in championship with championship favorites. So that's why I'm putting the Bucks at 4. It's a respect thing, but I understand why people might not put them this high as well.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm one of those people that I'd have them in the top 10. I
Yeah,
think
that's
all of
fine.
it.
I think that they didn't make a lot of improvements. I don't think they really did much this offseason at all, to be honest with you. So it's putting a lot of trust into what they have already.
You sure are.
And with Giannis leading the way, I'm gonna assume that they have a good chance.
And
So
I get that. We need to respect. This is another guy again who could be the best player in the league. I understand, but I talked about depth just around star players. I don't think Giannis has played with great depth, like where there's been multiple options on the team, to where I'd have them outside looking into this top five list. I think Dame and Giannis will be great. I think they
yeah,
could lead them to 50 plus wins this season, barring no injuries. But I have question marks about Chris Middleton. I have question marks about Brook Lopez. Is he still going to be mobile enough to block shots and also stretch the floor? Like, there's so many more
and
questions.
what is everyone else gonna give me?
Exactly.
That's the thing. What's my fucking who's my head coach gonna be? And
Yeah.
by month 2,
Yeah.
that's what I want to know.
Apparently, the button to fire head coaches is very large in Milwaukee's front office. So I
Hmm.
don't.
It's
I
a
just
big red button that says it doesn't say don't click. It goes, click it. That's fine. Who cares?
can't. MEH click.
Doesn't bother us.
Like, I don't know. I'm not sold on them, like, to the
No,
point where
I
I
get
can
it.
pencil
You
them in.
can't count them out, but at the
No.
same time, there's reason to believe that they've been leapfrogged by a few teams.
The Knicks and Sixers, in my mind, have better teams now.
Fair enough.
So I
Yeah,
can't.
fair enough. On paper, I think so. I'm putting a lot of trust in Giannis
In
being
Giannis.
able to lead the way, but we'll see if he can do that.
Hey, for the Bucks' sake, if they want him to retire there, better help that
Yes.
brother.
Yeah, if they
Look,
don't make it past the first round this year, I think we'll be talking about new destinations for Giannis next offseason.
yes.
Yeah.
Hey, sitting courtside, episode 100, loading.
Let's go. Let's go. We already got the rundown.
Okay, well, when you discover a new binge-worthy show or a song that you bump on repeat, and you gotta share it with your friends just so they can experience how awesome it is. That's kind of what it feels like when you discover that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan. It's such an awesome deal, there's no way you can keep it to yourself. A $15 phone plan has been a blessing for me. Not only is it affordable, but I also get to keep in contact with friends and family or anybody else I want to for a cheap, affordable price that fits my budget. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you and your squad with premium wireless plans for just $15 a month. So say bye to your overpriced wireless plan and make the switch to Mint Mobile. Best part is, you don't have to start from scratch after switching. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your own phone along with any existing contacts. Ditch overpriced wireless and skip the hassle and join Mint Mobile today. Ditch overpriced wireless and skip the hassle with Mint Mobile's deal. To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/courtside. That's mintmobile.com/courtside. Cut your wireless bill to just $15 a month at mintmobile.com/courtside. $45 upfront payment required. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on a limited plan only. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. Now back to the show. Number 3 for me is a team that happened to spank those Miami Heat in the 2023 NBA Finals after their historic run. I have the Denver Nuggets here, where I know a lot of people are kind of out on them right now because what happened in the 2024 postseason when matched up with Minnesota, the size got the better of them. Rudy, Cat, Jaden McDaniels, another big guard or big forward, if you want to call him that. It was rough for the Nuggets in that series for sure, but they still have the best player in the game. They still have one of the better point guards in the game, Jamal Murray. They kept Aaron Gordon. They still have MPJ. These core guys are still in place right now. It does suck that they did miss KCP.
They did lose some important pieces, but they kept the core. Which is most important.
And I'm kind of curious to see, I know they got Russell Westbrook over the offseason. That was their big pickup, but I feel like a trade could be on the horizon for them because the type of money that they're going to need to pay Aaron Gordon to what he probably wants, who I think is a more important piece than Michael Porter Jr., I can see MPJ actually being moved for a piece that probably makes sense. Who's that? I have no freaking idea. because I don't even know
Yeah,
who's going to be buying, who's going to be selling on certain players. So that's TBD.
100%.
But as long as you have Jokic and Murray in place in the postseason, who again, I know Jamal did struggle in the postseason. The Lakers series is kind of like omitted from my mind because for whatever reason, he sees purple and gold and wants to light it
He
up.
always pops off.
Yes,
Always pops off. Yeah,
always. But in that Minnesota series, he was terrible.
he was a shell of himself.
He had like maybe one 20-point game or something like that, where it's just low shooting percentages, high turnover rate when that's supposed to be the guy, one of the best caretakers of the ball in the NBA. So I'm interested to see what that looks like. And plus, matchups is everything. So losing to Minnesota obviously was a bad matchup. And even though they swept LA, gentlemen sweep. They beat us in 5, but it was still a tough series.
Jerry.
Hey, sorry, you're right. It's still a tough series to where they had to battle back after being down 20 in pretty much a majority of those games. So if they would have played OKC in the first round or the second round, they probably go back to the WCF. They might go on to go to the NBA Finals and play Boston, potentially win their second straight ring. There's so many different what ifs, but I still give Denver that respect of being one of the better teams out west, I'm sure everybody does, but I don't think everybody's penciling them in to make it out of the West, given what happened to them last year and losing KCP. So,
yeah,
I'm still high on Denver. I have them at 3 for me.
That is very fair. I agree with the points that you made, but I don't agree with them. The Nuggets at 3. I have another team at 3, and that team is a team that you already talked about. And that is the OKC Thunder. I have them a little higher than you here. I'm really high on the Thunder this year. I think they really showed last year what they're capable of. They didn't make it. They made it to the second round. Team could have went further, but, kept it at the second round. And you said it earlier. You can make an argument that they had the best offseason out of any NBA team this year. Yeah, they didn't go and get a guy like Paul George. They need to go and get a guy like Paul George. You saw the weaknesses in the postseason.
Yeah.
Defense and having a solid big man that can get you rebounds,
and
just do a little bit of everything.
Kind of secondary playmaking too, and Caruso can.
Sure, and he adds that. He absolutely adds that. You lose Giddey, but I think you lose the playmaking and maybe a little bit some valuable stuff with Giddey, but you gain a whole lot more back with Caruso. The defense, the playmaking, whether he comes off the bench or starts, whatever it may be, he's going to be huge for that team. He's the oldest player on that team, which is insane.
30.
He's 30 and he's the oldest player on that team. So I'm with you. I'm not really like yes, they're still young, but I feel like at this point, like SGA is entering his prime right now. I have him winning MVP next season, and I don't think that youth will be an excuse as to why they lose, if they lose, going into the finals, whatever it may be. I'm very high on them this year, but I only have them at 3 because the West it's stacked. It's loaded. So I'm comfortable putting the Thunder at 3 here.
Yeah. Again, come postseason matchups, the way I kind of divvied this up in my head is like, if OKC plays Denver, who would I pick to win in a series?
Yeah.
And
OKC could avoid Denver the whole time. Denver could avoid OKC. You just don't know. You don't. You're right.
Right.
It's hard. It's really hard to really predict these things. You know what I mean? There's so many factors.
Very much subjective lists, and we piece this together for a multitude of different reasons. So I understand.
Absolutely. All right, top 2 now.
Numero dos for Jerry D here, which
this is like your big reveal. This is like our number one reveal because we're not going to spoil it. We know, but let's see who you got at number 2.
I think this is going to be the one that gets me destroyed in the comments potentially, or people will have a lot of pushback to say, because I have the Dallas Mavericks at 2. I think we all already know that they got to the NBA Finals. And
logically speaking, they were the second best team in the NBA last year. They were second place. They were second place. So,
and I think it was very much a surprise to where it's like, oh wow, they actually made this run. They actually managed to have.
It's like it's like people like Luka, can he lead his team to the finals? It's like always something that you like speculate could happen, then it happened. It's like, oh shit, they actually made it to the finals.
No freaking way! Like it's very much. It was a surprise to everybody. It was a surprise to us because I'm pretty sure we probably picked against the most. We said they could get there, But if they played Denver, like, if you go back to listen to our old podcast,
Mm-hmm.
they played Denver. I don't think they make it.
Even like Minnesota, even in
Yeah,
Minnesota, like yeah, it's just Dallas did go on. I don't want to call it a Cinderella run, but a lot
it
of good,
kind of
a
feels
lot
like
of the things went in their direction
yeah,
in
it
that
definitely
playoff
did.
run. But they took advantage of it. They made it to the finals, so that's what matters.
And the thing that gets me, yeah, we can talk about their 2024 postseason all day because they had some great wins. The Clippers, the Thunder, and the Wolves, obviously tough series, but Luka and Kyrie looked like the best backcourt in the league, and they showed it up until they played the best defensive backcourt in Boston's guys that they had.
Yep.
So neutralized a little bit, slowed them down for sure, but I feel like they did their job this offseason. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
they lost Tim Hardaway Jr., which it's kind of like, all right, he was playing very sparingly anyway after getting injured. Other guys stepped up in the rotation. They lost Derrick Jones Jr., which is like, oh, damn, our best defender, our high-flying athlete, we lost him. But you get the big like fish, I guess, for them in Klay Thompson, which isn't anything to really hype up or gas up too much because what does Klay really have left? He still shoots over 40% from deep, which a lot of
Does
people don't do in today's
yeah.
NBA. So I'll
Hey,
still
no matter how many knee injuries you have, you still got the shot, brother. You
it's
still
still
know how
there.
to shoot the thing.
It's
So
still there. And then you
mhm.
add other 3-and-D pieces to go along with Klay, like Quentin Grimes and Najee Marshall, who are two underrated players. So I talked about depth for Joel Embiid. This was another guy in Luca that I was talking about is going to be playing with the most depth that I think he's had so far
Sure,
in his career. Like
sure.
it's very much like, wow, you really do care about me, like as a franchise player. Like, thank you so much for
Yeah.
getting me more shot creators, for getting me more
I
3-point
mean,
shooters,
that's
like
really the
3-point
biggest
players.
thing that they needed is just more shooting around Luca. Obviously,
Yeah,
more effort from Luca on the defensive end as well.
absolutely.
But getting a guy like Klay Thompson's like the idea of it is perfect for that team. Will it work
Absolutely.
out? We'll see. But it definitely could be an unbelievable signing. He can do wonders to that team, Klay
Yeah.
Thompson.
Again, just like how I said it about Karl Anthony Towns earlier, I'm not worried about fit for any
Mm,
of these guys, especially more so here, since these are role players that know coming in. Luka and Kyrie are the guys.
right.
We have to get in where we fit in. And that's when I look at Dallas and the type of run that they made, they showed me they could turn it on. Jason Kidd could make in-game adjustments, and hell, that saved his job because everybody was talking about, hey, Mavericks out in the first round, Jay Kidd is out of there. Like,
Yeah.
let's get a new guy. And they showed me a lot to where I'm confident in having them at 2. Again, like, I don't know what it looks like if they play Denver in a 7-game series. I probably would pick Denver, but I can't say that definitively because Luka is a mini Jokic to some degree, just
Yeah.
maybe a little more mobile. So it's kind of crazy to how Dallas actually did do everything they needed to do over the offseason. Sure, maybe they could have got a bigger name. Like I know they're on the running for Paul George, or when before Bronny got drafted to the Lakers, oh, maybe we can get LeBron. I know they wanted
Mhm.
another star player, but I don't think they really needed one. Plus,
Right.
my last point here, Derek Lively is going to take another step up in his game.
Yeah.
The way
Yeah.
that
That's
this
the
this
expectation.
the way that this game works is when fives come in raw and actually find a role that makes sense and then make deep postseason runs, they come back way better than what they were. Like, the 3-point shot might be there. Maybe he puts the ball on the floor out of the high post or the low post. I'm very interested to see what level he takes his game to in year 2 because it's just you're playing with offensive gods. Like,
Did you? I don't know if you saw it. It was the preseason game. I think it was last night where he took the ball up the
he took the
court,
ball up the
was it
floor.
dribble, did a spin
Yeah.
and one, and people are like, "This is what Giannis does." It's like, do this like 10 more times. This is Giannis.
If anybody that's 6'10", 6'11", does that 10 more times, they throw him in the Giannis boat. I think that's bullshit. But still,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
confidence to actually go through that in a game, whether it be preseason or regular season, it's impressive. That goes to show, hey, man, I've been working on my game, been working on my handle, and I know how to play better after a year in the system with, again, offensive gods.
yeah.
Like,
He
I
has
just
good
need to get in
leadership.
where I fit in. So I'm excited for what Dallas could do, which is why I have him at 2. And plus, it also helps when Tatum says, I think we could play Dallas again in the finals. So you know what? I think
Absolutely.
I think this is very much a team that could make the same kind of run that they did, barring on the matchups, of course. I'm really scared for Denver. That's like the one team is just that big Serbian dude just it makes me doubt teams. It makes me be like, nah,
That
you're not going to beat the Nuggets. But
that big Serbian motherfucker
that big
was
ass
standing in the
Serbian,
way,
damn near
standing in the
300
way,
pounds.
riding his damn horses.
Yeah.
Actually, no. He said he's never rode a horse in his life. Yeah, I think he just likes.
Oh, he just likes the races.
He just likes the races. Yeah,
That's even
interesting enough.
worse. He's not even
Yeah,
cool. He's not even cool while riding the horses. He's cheering
I
in the
mean,
stands like the rest of us.
you have to have like a ginormous horse for him to sit on too. He's a big boy. That horse would be going through it if he was sitting on one.
I mean, but horses weigh like, damn near a ton. I mean, I don't
That's
know.
true. Jokic is a big boy too. He weighs a ton too. Hey, all right. We're no more talking about Jokic's weight. He's fine. He's great. He's great. Okay, my number 2 here is team that is led by Nikola Jokic. It's the Denver Nuggets. I'm putting the Denver Nuggets here at 2 because I know they had the disappointing Game 7 loss. They lost to the Minnesota Timberwolves in the second round last year, but they still have Nikola Jokic. They still have Jamal Murray when he turns it on. He is one of the better point guards in the league, one of the better scoring guards in the league. That is without a doubt. They're champions. They made it to the finals. They know how to get it done. We were just talking about there were ways last postseason where they could have made it to the finals, and if they matched up against the Celtics, hey, as a Celtics fan, I'll tell you what, I would have been shitting my pants a whole lot more than we were playing Dallas. So,
they didn't get there because of Jamal Murray, and I'm going to put that solely on him, honestly.
He probably takes a lot of responsibility in his poor performances in Minnesota. If he had better games, they probably wouldn't have even made it to Game 7 in the first place. They probably could have ended things earlier. But with all that being said, they're still the Denver Nuggets. Yes, they didn't have the greatest offseason of all time. They lost some key rotational pieces. They gained Russell Westbrook, who I'm not hesitant. I don't know what to expect. So I don't really have expectations of how that partnership is going to work. But they're still the Denver Nuggets. Nikola Jokic is still the best player in the NBA, the reigning MVP. As long as they have him and he's good to go, they're good in my eyes. So I'm going to put them at number 2. And Jerry, I know we've been going back and forth and stuff, but I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid off here. We both have the Boston Celtics at number 1. I'm not going to really rant too much about this. They're defending champs. They didn't get worse this offseason.
They re-signed all their guys.
They re-signed everyone, and even though they didn't sign anyone new, I still think they got better because just another year of cohesion, another year of growth from the young guys, not even the young guys, Tatum and Brown, who still are young technically, who are in their primes coming off a championship, both of them motivated than ever in one way or another for their own reasons. If they stay healthy, Jaylen Brown said on Hot Ones, the only thing holding the Celtics back from going back to back is injuries. So that's literally the only thing I think that will stop the Celtics.
I have 2 things on the rundown for the Celtics while they're number 1. And obviously everything that you said, very much true. I think cohesiveness is better than bringing in new additions sometimes. And I think when you're a championship team, guess what? People got to come up to us now. They got to come to our level. If you can't get there, get the hell to the back of the bus. You don't need to be out here. So,
absolutely.
What I have written down, though, Joe Mazzulla is a fucking nut in a good way. In a good way. When you're a savage and you're a psycho and you want the red dot right between your fucking eyes, I love you. I really do. It's like
I will run through a brick wall for that guy. This is like Dan Campbell of the NBA. Honestly,
I love it. Like just
it's a great comparison. It really
is. Whatever you need. Yeah. Pat yourself on the back for that one, Dante. You did the damn thing there. But
and it's like, you have all these players that he says weird things like this, blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, he compared the offense like killer whales or something like that.
Yeah,
it's just like, how does that work? But it's like, well, if you think about it, it's just like, yes, but that's still fucking weird. But hey,
the players think about killer whales and how they attack sharks. I don't give a shit.
Joe Mazzulla was probably the happiest person in the world that didn't play in the Olympics and stuff like that. And it's just like, it's like you think about it, it's like, oh, that's kind of messed up. Then you think about it, it's like, oh yeah, I kind of see where he's coming. He's happy that motivates Tatum.
And hey, that's point number 2. Revenge toward Tatum is what I have here because hey, now everybody thinks I can't shoot. Everybody thinks I'm probably one of the worst all-stars in the league. Everybody thinks that Jaylen Brown is miles better than me. So, all right.
Shut them up.
I'm going to show you.
Shut their mouths, Tatum. Don't even have to say anything. Just show it on the court.
And, that's That's why Boston's won. And if anybody doesn't have Boston as number one, I think you need to call a therapist and
It's
get
if you
some
don't
help.
have the Celtics at number one, it's because you deeply hate the Celtics, or you're putting the team that you are a fan of at number one
Hey, look,
and
man.
are blind to the fact that there's a team better than them in the
Check it
NBA.
out, man. I'm a Lakers fan. If nobody knew by this time, after watching this pod for so long,
After
and
58 episodes.
yeah, after 58 episodes, and hey, guess what, man? I don't have the Lakers in the top five because I have a lot of question marks over what they are. So I say all this to say, I should despise the Celtics, and I should not want them to get anything done. And I'm not saying that I want them to win a championship, but I'm also a very unbiased NBA reporter and NBA fan and a realist. The Celtics are the best team in the league, and it will remain that way until proven otherwise. Thanks for
Hey,
watching.
like you said, Jerry, I have a full year from the second they win it till they get eliminated
Yep.
to say the Celtics and to gloat about the championship and stuff. So
Sure
hopefully
do.
we can I can keep that going for so it feels good, Jerry, that I can actually I'm at a time in my life where I can put the Celtics at number one, because there were years where it was just like, man, it's like they're good, but I can't. There's a lot of teams better than them, but you know what? Now it's just like Celtics. How you doing up there, Boston? Hey, Jokic.
Okay. All right. That's
all
enough. That's enough.
right, that's all we got today. I think Jerry is done. He's clocking out. Jerry, do you have anything you want to add before we we head out here?
Absolutely, man. Shout out to the New York Liberty, man. I think it was a foregone conclusion that they were going to beat the Aces, who need to go out in the offseason and get some more help for that roster. Kelsey Plum and Jackie Young are all but so much, but the New York Liberty have two former MVP winners, Jonquel Jones, Breonna Stewart, and Sabrina Ionescu is one of the best in the game. So the Liberty are going to win the WNBA finals, by the way, whenever we get there. Just a little sneak peek for you guys, or I hate to spoil it for you, but it's kind of a
It
foregone
ain't
conclusion.
it ain't a prediction. It's a spoiler, Jerry.
I am letting people know they are going to get this done.
Well,
Absolutely.
if people are smart, they listen to you and put some money down on it.
I
That's
know I
what they
already
should.
have. Started the season, I put money on the Liberty. I'm waiting for my FanDuel to cash out so I can get my measly $100. I'll wait.
Put it all on the Liberty. Put it
That's
all
right.
on the Liberty.
That's right.
Well, that's Jerry signing off for me. Hope everyone's doing well in fantasy football this year. I'm just checking in on all my fantasy managers out there. I know it can be rough. I know it can be, you can be on cloud nine right now if you are good for you. You could be in
I
the
am
trenches
above
right now.
500 in both of my leagues, so I'm good.
That's you know what, that's all I can ask for with the injuries and everything that comes with it.
Yes.
Sometimes it's okay to be right in the middle, because it could be a whole lot worse. It could be better.
Oh no,
But it could
no.
be a
I'm
whole
like
lot
I'm
worse.
like 4-1, like 4-1. Like
Oh,
we good. We
you're
good.
good.
Don't worry about it.
We good. So praying for all the fantasy managers out there that are dealing with injuries right now. My thoughts and prayers are with you. But thank you guys so much for watching. Sitting Courtside episode 58. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you are here on YouTube. Put in the comments which teams you believe have the best chances to win the NBA Finals, the NBA Championship this year. Give us your top five. Give us a sleeper as well. Check out our shorts, our gamified content here on the page as well. If you are an audio only listener, please make sure to give us a 5-star review rating, all that good stuff. We appreciate it so much. Follow us on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. You know the deal. Until next episode, peace out.
Shubba.